Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Rochelle Gay. I am a rising junior at Mount Pleasant High School, and welcome to the Delaware Black Student Coalition's Mother Day Roundtable discussion. Today, we will be having a discussion between Black mothers and Black student leaders about what it's like to be a Black woman in America. On today's panel, we have both students and mothers from all throughout the state. Um, Here with us this evening. So I would just like to give everyone the opportunity to introduce themselves with their full name, school/profession, and or grade and number of children if you have kids. So Dr. G, if you don't mind starting us off, that would be great.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rochelle. Let me first of all seize this opportunity to thank the Delaware Black Student Coalition leadership team. I think we all applaud you and we're very proud of you as parents. And it is indeed a great initiative. And I just cannot tell you how much proud we are of you. So I am Dr. Eunice Guamisia. I live in Delaware, Magnolia, Delaware specifically, but I'm originally from the cornfields of Cameroon in West Africa. I have lived in Delaware for about 26 years. I am a nurse by trade. I am also the founder and CEO of eUnity Solutions, which is a multi-dimensional consulting firm. And our purpose is really to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion while providing a wide array of other cutting-edge services, helping CEOs and business owners really leverage that diverse talent to improve team performance, engagement, and return on their investment. Because as we all know, when you make them happy, they will come back. But I'm glad that today we will be talking about how do we begin to be inclusive of everyone, especially that Black woman who has a stereotype because you're assertive, because you're strong, and you're unique, you're a queen, and you can stand on your own and you know who you are and whose you are. So I am so excited that we're here today with my fellow mothers to really have this conversation that is so needed. So again, I'm not going to hold you, but I am happy to be here. And thank you all so much for the invitation.
Thank you, Dr. Guanmesia. So anybody else that would like to go next, and then we can just follow along from there.
I'll go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lori L. of Lori L. Speaks. I am an entrepreneur. Now, what a scary word that I ran away from for a long time. But basically, I run my own thing, baby. Yes, I do. And I am happy about it. I have an opportunity to impact young people's lives. And I think it's the greatest honor in the world. My mission in life is to build an army of leaders. And that army looks very much like this screen. Women in power, women of color in power, doing the daggone thing. I am super, super proud of you guys and happy to be here tonight.
I'll go next. My name is Lynette Hollis, and I am an educator here in Delaware. I teach high school at a vocational school. However, one of my greatest honors is to be the mother of three beautiful daughters who are high school. And my goal in life is to prepare them for the world, to prepare them to be great, to conquer every obstacle, challenge, and to do that same to inspire others in this world. And so I'm glad to be on this platform with other beautiful Black women that are inspiring others and empowering others to do the same. So thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, I didn't follow the instructions, did I? I didn't tell about my kids. I got a lot of kids. But I claim 3 on my taxes. I have 3 sons that I absolutely love. My job is to train them up to be good husbands, good men, and people who are going to change this world.
I guess you're not alone, Laurie. I didn't talk about my kids either. I have 2 most beautiful children the world has ever seen, Keith and Caitlin Guamisia. 16 years old and 21, and she just got her license, y'all. Do not get on the highway with her. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll start with my kids. I'm the mom of JJ and Elijah McNeil, and my name is Natasha McNeil. They're two toddlers, so I can't wait till our crossover to the point where they're driving themselves to school. But right now they're kicking and hollering to get in the car. So I'm so grateful to be here. I am the founder of Moms Against Racism, and to link arms with these beautiful Black Delaware sisters means the world to me this Mother's Day, knowing that we had civil rights leaders like Dr. King, who resided down here in the South in Georgia, but you know, he marched in Selma. That wasn't where he was from. So to know that we can make change and impact this movement from coast to coast, border to border, that's a beautiful thing. And so I am very, very blessed to be here as the founder of Moms Against Racism. We do have a chapter there, and our mission is to unify our parenting skills by teaching anti-racism within our households. And we do that by saying, doing the work starting at home. And so it starts here, and I'm so grateful and so excited for these young people on here. So congratulations for taking a step out, what we consider down here in the South, on faith, and really being a part of the movement. So thank you so much.
Okay, so if that's all the moms, daughters, would you please care to introduce yourselves? Elise, if you don't mind starting us off.
Absolutely. I am one of the co-founders of the Delaware Black Student Union. I'm 17. I'm a junior at Smyrna High School. I also serve on the Delaware State Board of Education as the student representative. And I have many, many other leadership opportunities, but that's not what this is about today. So that's who I am. And yeah, I'll pass it on to one of the other co-founders, Caitlin Parker.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Caitlin Parker. I'm a co-founder of the Delaware Black Student Coalition, and I'm also the president of the NAACP Kent County Youth Council. And I'm really excited to be here and have this discussion with all of you guys. I'm a senior at Dover High School, so thank you.
I'll go next. My name is Hanifa Orosama. I am a proud member of the Delaware Black Student Coalition and a junior at Dover High School. And I'm excited to have this conversation with you all.
Hi, I'm Yancy Hollis. I am a member of DBSC. I am a sophomore at William Penn High School. Although I'm new to advocacy, I'm really excited to just be a part of the conversation today and just broaden my spectrum of how to talk and address certain situations in the Black community as a young Black woman. And I'm so excited to talk with you guys. So, yeah.
I'll go next. Hi, everyone. I am Makaya Tatum Islam. I am a junior at Delcas Technical High School. I'm a DEI student leader and a proud member of the Delaware Black Student Coalition.
Hi, my name is Olivia. I go to Early College High School. I'm in the 9th grade, and I'm a part of the Delaware Black Student Coalition.
All right, y'all. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. I would just like to quickly introduce Lauren Hicks. She is our chat moderator this evening, so she's going to be watching the chat for any questions, and she will also be sending in questions coming in from our live stream on YouTube. So I just want to quickly thank everyone for coming out this evening. This means so much that you guys took time out of your day to just be on here to talk about a few important topics that, you know, we face as Black women in the workforce and throughout school and being leaders. So it's really great that you guys were all able to come on and just say your truth and then listen to what we have to say as well. Please be aware that this is a discussion-based conversation, so please feel free to come off of mute at any time to answer any questions or say whatever you feel needs to be said. But please be mindful that if there are people talking, we do have the raise hand feature, but if that is not working, just say that you would like to go next in the chat and we will get to you. So without further ado, we're gonna get started. Our first question that we have is, what does it mean? What does being a Black woman mean to you? So if anybody would like to take that question, and we can just take it from there.
If nobody's going, I'll go first then. That is a great question. What does being a Black woman mean to me? Each time I answer this question, I get emotional because when I think of a Black woman, I think of all the adjectives to describe a powerful, strong, smart, and intelligent Black woman. So I like to say that when I think of being Black, I think of my roots. I think of where I come from and how far I have come, because those experiences, lived experiences, define who I am. So I like to think of my self-identity, and that self-identity is molded from where you grow up and how you grow up. So I think of me as a little girl from the cornfields of Africa, Cameroon in particular, in the west coast of Africa. I think of myself as an immigrant who has achieved what I did not think I would achieve growing up. So I see myself as a queen, a chocolate brown, in chocolate brown skin. As a matter of fact, today I was looking at LinkedIn, and the president of Delaware State University, my alma mater, Dr. Tony Allen, had on the song by Tabby, I believe that's his name, it's a reprise song called Shine. You know, and he talked about don't allow them for you to ignore your skin color. So regardless of how and what people think of you as a Black woman, I always go back to my roots that has defined who I am, that has defined the people that paved the way for us, Rosa Parks, Coretta Scott King, you name them, right? And then people in the current times like Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey. Why can we not be like them? And when we do become like them, let us pull each other along. That is being a Black woman. It's not just about us, it's about who we can impact. There's a saying that if you can educate a woman, you educate the world. So if we start to educate every Black woman or those who are able to get that education, knowing that not everybody's going to be at the same level, it's our duty to pull our sisters belong. It is our duty to be our sister's keeper. It is our duty to teach the young people like you coming up that you are beautiful, that you have great potential inside of you, and you can do anything as long as you put your mind to it, and find the resources and the support network that will take you through that path to become that future person that you want to be. So that's what I think of a Black person. It's a queen, and you're so unique in very many ways. So I'm going to stop here and let my colleagues pick up from there.
I would absolutely agree with you. I think it means hope. It means resilience. It's beauty and strength. It's so daunting at times because, you know, last week or this week, I think I Googled beauty, and, you know, the very first images, it didn't even reflect anything that looked like me. And I was offended by that. And I was like, I am beautiful. You know, my babies are beautiful. My nieces are beautiful. My cousins are beautiful. All that extends from me is beautiful because it's true. It's honest. It's strong. It's courageous. It's birthed out of resilience. It's birthed out of honesty. It's birthed out of hope, you know, and that should be honored and celebrated, even when no one else celebrates it. And so I think we should honor our resilience. I think we should honor the very essence that cannot be purchased or injected, or, you know, because so many people, they try to buy what we have and exemplify what we have, and they can never do that, you know. And so we have to accept who we are and celebrate who we are and own who we are and embrace who we are, because it is beautiful, and respect who we are, all of our strengths and areas of improvement. It's all beautiful.
That was beautiful, because that's, Ms. Hollis, that's exactly what I was going to say with my journey in being a Black woman, embracing the failures and successes of who I am and who I aspire to be. That's a large part of my makeup, and being able to just grow from that and understand that this is a journey similar to this movement that we're all in now. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so that's the same thing that I would apply to my life as a mother, as a woman, as a queen. And I really do love being who I am. And that's regardless of what anyone else thinks. And more than anything, knowing and owning who I am and whose I am. A large part of my faith in being a Black woman is understanding who I'm connected to. And that's Christ for me in my faith walk. And so I own that and I love it and I cherish it.
I agree with everything. When I think of what it means to a Black woman, it kind of sounds like this in my head. Child, honey, what? When you think about a Black woman, I think resilience, I think fortitude, and most importantly for me, I think responsibility. That I have a responsibility, that we are the mother of the earth. Are you kidding me? I have a responsibility to every single one of you on this screen as my sister, as my daughter. And that's why I have daughters and sons all over the world, because when I look at you, I see my child. I see a responsibility. I grew up in a village mentality where across the street, they're going to get you, and around the corner, they're going to get you. And so I'm going to get you. If I see you not doing right, if I see you doing right, I feel as a Black woman responsibility to ensure that my ceiling, Micaiah hears me all the time, my ceiling is your floor. That where I stop, you start, that you don't repeat the mistakes that I made, that you understand who you are, that your history did not start here as a slave, that you too, as my ancestry DNA says, I came from the Cameroon, where I would have been out there in the fields and still come back to say, look at my people. So when I think of what a Black woman is, child, that's who we are.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, I like that idea of your responsibility and the village mentality. We all know of the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I just came back from Cameroon, where I went to bury my dad. He passed away in January, and I just buried him April the 17th because I had to take the body home. And he was an educator for 53 years. And yes, every single child in that community came out, because I was not just his child, or 6 of us were just not his children. It was the entire village. And being the leader that he was, every single person, you will get whooped. You will get beat on the streets if he saw you doing something wrong. Or if you were out after 6 o'clock and your parents didn't know where you were, he took responsibility for you. So we need to get back to that community living. That's what is missing from our community. If you see my child on the street, you better correct them, because I have no problems. And if they have a problem, I will whip them in front of you. You know, I have this conversation with my daughter all along. I said, keep in mind that you're an African child. And I come from somewhere, and I know that I was whooped and beat as a first of 6 because my siblings did something wrong, because I wasn't watching them. I said, so if your brother who has challenges is not being taken care of, I will hold you responsible. You have to be the mother in my absence. So we need to really teach our kids those values and that sense of community, and make them know that this auntie and that auntie is just a mother to them, like we are.
And not to come back, but that is what we're missing, that sense of community, that communal living. Yancey is not my blood, but that's my niece. She calls me Aunt Lori. Miss Hollis, okay, that's my sis. Like, don't come for my sis ever. And if we had that mentality imagine a world where you would not say anything against anybody, regardless of color now, of course, Black women, but regardless of color, if you just supported each other, listen, we had no choice. That's the reason that we were so communal. We needed each other to survive in order to eat. I needed to borrow some sugar from across the street, not because I didn't go to the store, because I didn't have the money to go to the store. So if I needed it, I needed to be able to go across the street. So we have to get back to that idea, especially in the school setting. If your sister is not doing well in social studies and you have an A+ in social studies, we have to get the mentality, come on, Elise, come on over, baby, let me help you out and get this work, so that we can have this, not a crab barrel mentality, but when I make it, we all make it. Got to get back to that.
Yeah, that's known as Ubuntu. I am because we are. And that's so important for us to embrace that. Yeah.
I really like your guys's contribution to the village mentality, because I really think that's something that I think we focus a lot on in DVSC, especially like supporting each other, like always. Like if any of the girls on here was like, hey, I need help with this, like, and I think like everybody is like on it, like as soon as they say it. And I think that that's really what being a Black woman is about, is supporting other Black women and being there whenever another Black woman is in need of help. So I really liked that you guys brought that up.
Yeah, I'll go next. When I think about being a Black woman, I think about resilience, of course, because I think about how much adversity we are born into this life with. We are born into this life working against the system. I think about protection, because I feel like Black women are the protectors of everyone, not just each other, not just our men, but, you know, if a Black mom sees any child on the street suffering, their immediate maternal instinct is to take that child in. So that responsibility, absolutely. And sometimes that is hard. Sometimes we spread ourselves thin and we put ourselves in situations that we may not need to be put into because of how big our hearts are and because of how much we love. But again, Black women face adversity every single day from our own people, from society, from men in every aspect. So when I think about being a Black woman, I think about fighting against adversity and being resilient and being able to be who you are within all of that and still be beautiful and still be a shining light with all of these things pulling you in separate directions.
When I think of a Black woman, I think of my mom. I think of my aunts. I think of all the women that have raised me to be the young woman that I am today, to be smart, to think wisely, to think with not only emotion, but to think with action. So how can I go about this? How can I go this right way without being the Black angry woman or the Black girl that's always acting out and being loud? I think about who I am. I think about the color of my skin, but I also think about the power that I have. With the many women in my lineage, I just think about them. I think about the people that have taught me to be who I am today. It's not just about our struggles, it's about what we have overcome, not only that. So I just think about those things to keep me going and be like, yeah, I'm a Black woman. I got this. That's the only superpower I needed to get through. My faith, yes, I got that. But being a Black woman, that's a superpower too. So that's what I kind of use with me as I go. So yeah.
You know, I love this question so much, and I love how passionate all of you are, and I just love hearing the responses. Like, this is warming my heart. It really is. It really is. So since, you know, you guys are so passionate about this question, how about we move on to the next one? It's a bit similar, actually. How has the strong Black woman stereotype has affected you in your everyday life as a mother or a daughter, professional, and just as a human being? So how would you say being stereotyped as a strong Black woman has really affected you? Like, what kind of toll has it taken on your life, and how have you basically been able to cope with being a strong Black woman and having to live up to the standards of being that type of person?
Okay. Oh my gosh, I could speak on this like for days and days and days, because I think that society has like pushed like you need to be that strong woman all the time, like no matter where you are, no matter what situation. And it can be very hard to be like vulnerable sometimes, even with your like closest friends and your closest family. Sometimes it feels like you need to always put up like this facade of being put together all the time and being a superhuman all the time, and never, you know, you can't look a certain way, you can't act a certain way, you can't be too emotional, but you also have to show some emotion, or else, you know, you don't care enough, you know. So like it's about like this like impossible balance. So it's almost like it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Imposter syndrome. That's what I'm looking for. It gives you just so much like imposter syndrome of like, am I even like a real person? Is this really me who's doing all of this? Is this really me who's you know, getting these accomplishments? Who deserves everything that you've gotten, everything that you've climbed towards, it can be so hard because you've put on this like act for so long that sometimes it feels hard to believe that it was you all along doing what you're doing. And sometimes when you like get praise or anything, you're like, wow, like I don't know if I can accept that. So yeah, that's
As a teenager, I think that it's definitely much different, but I can definitely attest to everything that Caitlin just said. As the eldest child, I feel like I am constantly expected to be the strongest, and it goes back to that responsibility thing, like having to be the strongest, having to be the role model, and feeling like you can't have a bad day, you can't have a down moment. You're constantly having this expectation to be strong. And like Caitlin said, it's very hard to show your vulnerability because it feels like everyone is expecting so much of you. And I think while that shapes us into these very strong women, sometimes it can hold us back emotionally from being able to connect and be vulnerable with people. And I think that that's I think now moving forward, and with this generation, how much we strive for proper mental health and, really taking in account people's mental health, that's a barrier that we need to work on as Black women, is being able to be there for each other and being able to say it's okay to not be strong for everyone. It's okay to not be strong 24/7. If you can't be strong right now, I got you. You need help with this, I got you. And that's one thing that we definitely embody in DBSC is if I'm having a bad week, somebody will pick up this task for me. If I need help with something, somebody, can help me out with that. And so being a strong Black woman is not always being that physically strong or being that person for everyone. A part of being strong is being able to show people your vulnerability and being able to handle situations like that with the proper resources.
Makai, I think you had your hand up.
I was going to let any of the moms answer before I go.
Sure. I actually am reminded of a meeting that I recently had in a board meeting, and they asked us what our spirit animal was in that meeting. And the answer that I came up with was based on my zodiac sign, because I can't escape it. I'm a Leo. And so my animal is a lion. But one quality that a lot of people don't realize that lions have is that they're actually loners. And they're loners because they exude so much strength and it can become so exhausting. And that strength of bravery and that pride and that leadership that you have with being the lioness of a pride, it's one that people would think is admirable. And so to me, when I look at what I am as a Black woman and some of the things that I've had to overcome, it really does look like defying the odds that are against me, as well as continuing to strive to be the very best that I can be for myself and others. So yeah, that's a good one. That's a good question.
So I can really relate to Elise when she said being the oldest. Being the oldest and especially being a girl, I feel like I have to be the second mom. I always have to come in with like that hustle mentality to try to figure out what I'm going to do next for my younger siblings or even my younger cousins. Being the oldest out of all of them, I have to hustle to make sure they're okay or hustle to make sure that they've eaten, and I always have to check up on them. And I think something strong that, even though it's a stereotype that I resonate with, is nurturing and being that maternal figure for others who may not have the strongest mother or father. Like I feel like I have to step in for them and just kind of have that maternal instinct to just nurture them. So that's.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to all of this and being the oldest sibling, being the oldest sibling and being a girl, and like if like, for example, if my parents want to go out somewhere, I'm the babysitter, I'm the role model, I'm the mentor, I'm everything all in one. And that can get kind of exhausting. You start putting other people's needs in front of yours. And it just gets to a point where you just have to start looking out for yourself. And it's a lot of pressure. And I don't think that other people realize that, except Black women, that responsibility is a it's a double-edged sword. Like, on one hand, like, it's good to have responsibility for other people and be there for people's children when they don't have anybody, but you also have to take care of yourself. And I think that's something that I've learned along this journey.
I think it's important as Black mothers and as Black women to normalize modeling that if you are not in the best emotional health, or if you need emotional balance and wellness, that you seek therapy. You know, there is nothing wrong with that. If we were sick, we would go to the doctor. If we had issues with our eyes, we would see an ophthalmologist. You know what I'm saying? If we had cancer, we would go to an oncologist. If we are not having emotional wellness, there is no shame in that. I feel like the brokenness comes when we fail to address issues that are plaguing our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. And then we have these behaviors that we're acting out and we're screaming, and it's because we have not been able to deal with it, because we're that strong person. We have to carry everything. We have to deal with our jobs. We have to deal with societal norms. We're taking in all of what we're seeing in society, what's happening to our Black men, what's happening to our Black sons and our nephews, and we're having to deal with and manage everything that's happening on our jobs, and we can't say anything because it's like it's not accepted, and we can't cry, and we have to just keep everything repressed, and then you got to do everything else that's happening and manage at home. And then where does all that emotion go? Where are you vulnerable? You can't just keep pressing it down. You have to release it. And so if we do not normalize having emotional health and wellness and balance, then we will create a generation of young women that are not going to know how to self-regulate their emotions. And then we have just negative behaviors just repeating themselves. And I think it's so important that we learn to do that in a culture, in our culture. For so long, saying a therapist was like saying a cuss word, and so, it's important. And I appreciate that in some high schools, they have a wellness center, because kids need to talk. They need somebody to talk to that are trained therapists to deal with that, because sometimes they need to have those conversations that are maybe difficult for parents to hear, to handle, because maybe their parents never had those conversations with them and they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to handle it. And, they have never been given the tools to deal with it. And so I think as we go on, there needs to be some type of training provided, or seek out help to deal with it. Because as we have these platforms, we have to educate our babies to save them, because there's going to be trauma coming out of this pandemic. There's a need for us to have conversations about what's going on around the world, going on in family. There's going to be trauma, and we have to have answers for our babies. And our Black moms can do everything. We need a family. We need a village.
Wow. I'm throwing all of you some big hugs, because you just touch a topic that is dear and near to my heart: mental well-being. It is, like Lynette just said, we have to ask for help. Culturally, based on history and all whatnot, we're not able to really open up to mental health because there's a stigma attached to it. You're seen as the mad woman or mad man or mad Black person out there. So we bought into this ideology that we need to be strong. But if we're facing this mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual unwellness, then we need to seek that help. But one thing I like to add to what Lynette said is, when you do ask for the help, be willing to accept help. It's one thing to say, I'm going to go to therapy, but don't follow through or be compliant with the instructions that you're getting. So I strongly believe that this really starts at the kitchen table with our children, starting to talk about things to look out for, making those opening those communication lines with the young ones so that they're comfortable coming to talk to us as parents. And then we can guide them so that when they're out there, we're not going to be with them 24. They're going to go to school. Someone else is in charge for 8 hours. On the way home, something can happen. With all the craziness from COVID and the police brutality and all whatnot, the nasty things, creating the trauma that we don't deserve, it really starts with us taking those educational moments and instilling in our children that this is what you can do. This is what you should not do. One of the things that come to mind, our young men are being killed left and right of no wrongdoing. But one of the things we can also teach them is if you are stopped, they're going to shoot anyway if they already came out to shoot. But if they stop you, please don't resist. Allow them arrest you, and you can always have your voice heard once you've been arrested, because the more you try to resist the arrest, they can easily kill you and use that as an excuse. Even when you don't resist it, they still do it. But I'm saying that we need to also give that advice to our kids, just so that maybe, you have one of them out there that will feel sorry for the child and not do that. But I love the idea, because we have to really teach them how to treat us. We have just been complacent and sit there and agree with, oh, you're just a Black person, or you're this, you're that, all the negativity and the stereotypes. No, we have to start letting them know how we want to be treated by educating them. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect segue, because if I think of the obstacle that I had to overcome, it was that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. And I'm just going to teach you how to survive, not thrive. I'm going to teach you as a Black man, this is the way that you're going to come home to me at the end of the day. I'm going to teach you as a Black woman how to be able to get the job. And I think your generation is to thank for my awakening that happened, honestly, last summer, in that I was like, oh man, it's all right to be Black. Like, we're finally allowed to talk and really honestly say how we feel, and there's a platform for it. I love looking at Kaylin's hair, the fact that you would go to school with your hair like that. My house, you would never walk out of the door, because we assimilated to the idea that we had to have our hair a certain way in order to be able to fit in with everybody. And you got to keep your hair together, and you got to comb it, and you got to make it straight. And my son had hair growing everywhere, and I'm like, son, you got to comb your hair, you got to keep it kept. And he was like, why, Mom? And I had to self-reflect and say, yeah, why? And the more research that I did, understanding that the reason that his hair grows up is because he was born on the continent of Africa. And in the continent of Africa, you don't need hair that grows straight down like you need in the colder climates that cover your blood vessel to ensure that your brain reaches the maximum temperature that it's supposed to. Instead, you need hair that grows up towards the sun. And so what did I do? I said, son, lock your hair. And you know what? You lock yours, I'll lock mine. Because I want him to understand that I'm coming to this understanding as well. So the obstacle that I had to overcome was, I'm no longer, those days are gone. I'm not trying to be complacent with my Blackness. I'm not trying to make excuses for my Blackness. I'm arriving with my ancestors on my shoulders. I'm arriving with my ancestors pushing my back and saying, no more, no more. This our country too. You want to, I love what there's a lot of the coalition members that are behind the House bill that's, trying to encourage Black history in school. And it drives me nuts that there's a Black history. Can we just teach history? Like, can we just tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God? There shouldn't be a differentiation between this is Black history class and this is American history class. No, say we brought you over here as slaves. Oops. Our bad, let's learn from it. Say you help build this country, because the more that we come to that understanding, the less we have people like me trying to excuse away some things just to survive, just to be able to assimilate and just to get along. We got to do away with that. And I thank your generation for being the first ones to step up and say, no more, no more.
I agree. Like, with everything that everybody's saying, it's just like, that's right. We have to worry about protecting our brothers and protecting our sisters and protecting ourselves when we go out and we walk out of the house. We have to think of, will this be the last time I can come back home? Will this be the last time I will be able to walk? There's certain things that we have to think about, and that affects us as young Black women and adults and young Black men. So there's so many things that we have to look at as Black women, and that affects our mental health and our actual health. Because with things that affect you mentally, it goes into your body. It shows through your body. When you have too much stress on you, it comes through your skin. Acne, stress comes through your skin. There's certain things where you're just like, I don't know why I'm getting this stress. I don't know why I'm worrying so much. And you have all these things, it comes through your body. Your body's trying to tell you something. And we don't think, maybe I need to calm down. When you push and you push and you push as Black women, we think, oh, I have to keep going. I have to keep pushing. I have too many people thinking and on my shoulders, I have to keep them going. So instead of trying to take that break and sit and breathe, we have to think about them and keep going and stressing ourselves even more. And so that's just what everybody's been saying, and I took away from that. But also another thing that I think that affects me as a young Black woman is what Black men say about us. If you look at a lot of Black young men, they say, oh, I don't date Black women, they're too ghetto. Or, oh no, I don't want to date her, she's too Black. Or those colorist type of comments and those rude comments. But it's like, you came from a Black woman. What is going on? There's certain type of self-hate that they show towards us. And it affects me because I'm a young Black woman. I want to date somebody soon or date somebody in the future, but I have to worry. Does he like me for me? Does he like me for my body? Does he like me for my intelligence? There's certain things that affect me and how I go out and reflect my body. There's certain things where I'm just like, no, don't do that. There's certain things where you're like, should I do this? Should I show myself off like this? You're like, no, that's not who I am. I'm not going to change myself to fit what you like. If you don't like me, baby, bye. Peace out. Peace out, Girl Scout. I'm good. And you just have to keep that with you as Black women, because we have to keep turning back and forth. We do one thing, it's not enough. We do the other, it's not enough. It's never going to be enough, but we can be enough for ourselves. And that's all that matters when it comes down to it. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I think that this stereotype affects my everyday life because growing up, people always assume, she's shy and all of this. But it seems like whenever I act like the stereotype, it's the only way people will ever listen to me or ever take me serious. So, yeah, I think that, it's just, the only way that people would take me serious and ever listen to me. So it has downsides and it has good sides to it. So, yeah.
Can I say something to it? I think it's balance. There's a balance to it, because what we don't want you to do is not use that superpower, because we have this superpower in our eye. I can look at you and have a whole mess. That's why when our beautiful vice president was having her debate, it was like we were having our own conversation. Like other people were hearing her say the politically right things, and we were looking at her eyes and her body motion saying, yup, sis, yup, that's exactly. So there's a way that you have to carry it. I was in a situation the other day, and a man was trying to get information from me, and I was very assertive, and I said, no, that's not what I want, and that's not what I'm going to give you. And he said, are you employable? I said, what do you mean? He said, you're very strong. I said, thank you so much. I owned it. I took that back. So my strength to you means I don't need to be, I'm employable because I employ myself. I write my own checks. What do you mean? Because I'm strong and because I am telling you, no, I'm not going to give you that information. Now that's used against me. So I want you guys to find the balance between it. Because it is your strength, but it can also be your weakness. It's a skill, it's an art. You got to learn the art of the dance.
It was like kind of going back to the original question, what it means to me to be a strong Black woman, and kind of relating to Elise and Hanifa. I feel like as an older sibling, I'm looked upon. I'm looked at all the time. Everyone's always watching me. There's certain things that I can and cannot do as a role model. And sometimes, because I have younger siblings that are way younger than me, and sometimes I do feel like a mother because, my parents want to go out and they want to do things, I have to stay behind and I have to take care of them and I have to watch them. But you know what? I don't mind, because I've had people taking care of me for so long that I don't mind doing it for other people. I don't mind doing it for my siblings. I don't mind doing it for my cousins, because I feel like that is my role as a Black female, to take the things that people did for me and do it for them as well, to do it for their offspring and do it for the people who come after, because at the end of the day, they were doing it for me and I turned out to be great. So I want to do it for them and I want to help their kids turn out to be great as well. So this topic really does touch my heart a little bit more. It does hit a little bit more to the sensitive side, because as an older sibling, as the oldest child in my entire family, it's like, it feels good to have somebody looking up to you and say that they feel like you're a great role model, so they know that, so then you're doing everything right. And then when you do something wrong, it's like, how bad that disappointment feels, and how bad you've slipped up, and you have to like reiterate yourself and think about it and try and do something better. But sorry, y'all, kind of moving on to our next question. What advice do you guys have for other Black girls / women, either older or younger than you?
Real quick, before you jump to your next question, that eldest child thing. Now, if you look in the chat, I asked the question, how many of you are eldest children? Can I say, your eldest children and you're on this call? There's a connection. Because at home, when you're saying that your parents are encouraging you to watch your children, you've got this responsibility. That's the reason you're on this call, because that's your training wheels. That's where you're at home and you're practicing and they're getting you ready and they're getting you in position. If you look at leadership, for the majority of people that are in leadership, somewhere along, there's a book, I cannot remember the name of it right now, but it talks about your birth order, and in your birth order and how it has so much to do with your characteristics. Don't despise the day of small beginnings. That is where you are getting your training wheels. You were born at the right time, at the right lineage of your siblings, to assume the position that you're going to assume. So when you're getting that responsibility and you're getting put in charge of things, that's on purpose. You're going to need that. Tuck that away. Don't despise it. I can't stand there always looking at me. They're always look where you are right now. Look at where you are right now. It's because somebody gave you a lot of responsibility. I look at my sons, and my oldest son, he is absolutely the most responsible. That middle one, y'all lay him on the altar and pray in Jesus' high name, okay? But I'm trying to give him more responsibility. But he needed to be first to be who he's going to be in this world. Don't despise where you are right now. It's going to come back to you.
I like that. Okay. That means I'm the first of all of you all. Our babies. I'm first of 6. I'm older than all of you, so I am the first of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm now first of 7, the oldest. Just needed to add that.
So just taking into our next question, Ms. McNeil, would you like to start for us? I want to hear what you have to say first.
I'm just sitting here listening, and to be honest with you, sweetheart, I forgot what the question is. So I'm
the question.
I'm thinking about. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. The question was, what advice do you have for other Black girls, older or younger than you?
Wow. So much, but the first thing that I would say is to embrace the now. Because so often, just even based on the conversation we just had, a lot of people admire the leader, the first, not knowing the obstacles that person is going to have to face first, as the first, to delve into something as a leader, and what that looks like. So to take the time to soak in every piece of wisdom that we can in the now, and learning from others, and enjoying life for what it is in the moment. So I would say that applies to me as a young girl, as well as to me as a mom right now, because we're hasty in a lot of things, because we're growing and we're learning. We want to apply. We want to, we're ambitious, and we have that innate characteristic of perseverance and being able to defy the odds and pick things up really quick. It's a beautiful trait that we have as Black women, to pivot and move and maneuver around obstacles. And so it's easy for us to go. So my thing would be to say to us all, whether young or older, or what I call seasoned, just to enjoy the moment and the now.
I will talk about my message to older Black women, I guess, because I feel like I don't necessarily have enough experience to talk about what message I would send to a younger Black girl. But one thing that's really big that I wish Black women did more was listen to the people under them and pour into us, because Miss Hayes made a really good point that for so long, because of routine and because of the trauma, the generational trauma that had been passed on to her, she believed that she was right in her ways, but those were survival tactics. Those were not, she's not living, she's surviving. And so when you see this younger generation going after things, especially things like mental health and advocating for their rights, advocating for who they are, a lot of times people go to silence us. So many times through my journey as a leader, I have been told you have to be the quiet storm. You have to get your foot through the door first. And what I live by is I'm kicking down the door. I'm not a quiet storm, I'm a hurricane. And I wish Black women would, stand with us in that more and pour into us in that way. And when Miss Hollis talked about how, we are taught to be strong, I wish that more often Black women would tell younger Black women that it is okay to not be strong, and to pick up that weight off of their shoulders, and to just pour into them and understand that they have so much they are the future of, of the Black community. And so we are learning so much, and there are many things that older Black women can learn from us as well. And I wish that more often we were seen as sisters, and not that I wasn't seen like under them, or that I was incorrect, or that what I was saying was invalid.
I would say that my message for younger Black girls is to embrace yourself, to love yourself, and to know yourself, and to always be confident in yourself. Because if nobody is going to do that for you, as long as you have yourself, that is all that matters. And that's something that I've had to learn growing up, and something that I was taught, is to always love yourself and know yourself, and don't let anybody ever tell you who you are or who you should be. Don't let anybody tell you that you fall into the stereotype of being loud and ghetto at such a young age. As long as you know yourself and that you love yourself, that's all that matters. And I would say that my message to older Black women is thank you. I feel like older Black women they're not told thank you enough. So thank you for being that mother figure when somebody doesn't have that mother figure. Thank you for trying to teach us the ways of the world and those survival instincts, because again, those really do come in handy. And thank you for trying to listen, even though sometimes it may not always be what we want to hear, but just thank you.
Dr. G, do you mind going next?
Thank you all so much for those wonderful, wonderful pieces of advice. With everything that's already been said, I agree. But my message would be, I'll use my father's famous quote: if you want change, that change must begin with you. And if you want change, you cannot be on the outside, you have to be in the game. So as Makia just said, you need to love you first. When you love you first and know who you are and whose you are, like I said earlier, you have a sense of confidence and you can overcome so many challenges, because we all can agree life is full of challenges, bumps and bruises, as I call it. But we cannot dwell on those challenges if we want to succeed. So my piece of advice that I would like to give today to each and every one of you young women is that beside knowing yourself, you need to know who you are and who you want your future self to be. Now then come up with a plan. How would you get to your future self, going from point A to point Z, right? So you need to have a strategy and a plan. That strategy and a plan is your short-term goals and your long-term goals. Are you going to meet them necessarily when you say you're going to meet them? No, that's when those challenges fall in place. That is when you find yourself in those valleys and you're wondering, can I do this? I will share with you at the age of 21, I flunked out of college back in Cameroon. Why? Because I refused to learn the French language. I saw that as someone else's responsibility. That was my first awakening to cultural sensitivity and awareness, because I saw the French language as the French people's responsibility, but I needed that to succeed in school because Cameroon is English and French. You have to speak both to succeed, especially at the university level in Cameroon. But I ignored that. Then when I moved to the US, I was given a second chance, thanks to my parents. So you too should know that you're going to fail at some point. But someone, your parents, may give you a second chance. Your teachers may give you a second chance. But what you do not want to do is take that second chance for granted. You have to do all in your power to not fail again, at least at that particular thing, because there'll be multiple challenges. But when you have that plan, goals, but you need to find out how you're going to get there, right? How you're going to execute those goals. So what I call is, I have survived by using what I call Dr. G's 5P principles. And let me just quickly go through what my 5 Ps are. Your purpose, the reason why you get up every day, the reason why you're seeking an education, the reason why you want to be an entrepreneur, whatever the reason is, it is the reason that when you're faced with that challenge, you can overcome it and you keep going because you're living on your purpose. Then your passion. What do you love doing? What is it that you can do even in the midst of your sleep? Something that makes you happy, something that just turns your heart and makes it so warm. It's your passion. It is not because you went to school that you have to have a specific job. You might finish school, but you love being maybe a painter. Yeah, but you have that degree to back yourself up in case you need it. And you just love doing painting. That is passion. Then patience. You have to exercise patience. Unfortunately, we live in a culture where everything is give me now, do it now. They want you to just click your finger and everything falls in place. Unfortunately, that's not life, because you're going to be faced with those challenges. You have to be patient and let it come when God said it's going to be yours, when that door is going to open. Life is seasonal. Sometimes you want to do something. Maybe what's holding you is the group of friends that you're with. It is okay to let go, because that season is not for them. It is for you. It's you staying focused on where you're going. Just keep putting in the action and being patient enough and waiting for that victory day. Then you have to be perseverant and persistent. And perseverance is for them because they've already given up on you, but you know where you're going. So you have to change your game. You have to change your strategy and be persistent until you reach that point Z that you were going. So that's my piece of advice. Set your goals, have a strategy, but also figure out how you're going to get there and get yourself a mentor in that area where you're going. Because somebody who is going to tell you what you do not necessarily want to hear. But most importantly, to crown everything, have a growth mindset. When you have a growth mindset, you will understand that a failure is nothing but just an opportunity for you to become a better you. So I will stop at that and let others continue.
Just something I would say is be assertive with what you do in everything that you do. From what I've learned so far is just be assertive and speak what you know, what you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you what to do, because when you speak, things happen. When you speak into existence, things will happen. So that is what I would tell somebody younger than me.
And I would tell them to surround themselves with other Black women, because really and truly, the only person that's ever going to understand you as a Black woman is another Black woman. So just surround yourself with role models to look up to and other people to uplift and younger people to uplift as well. And if you don't have that space, start that space, or, better yet, join the Delaware Black Student Coalition. Or yeah, but yeah, that's my advice.
One of the things that I would tell a younger Black woman is that you have everything already inside of you. Everything you have is in you. Everything you experience is to make you a better individual, a better person, a better leader. As you go through life in your journeys, it is to make you better. So don't ever think that anything is for naught. It's all to take you to an expected end. It's already in you.
Ms. Hayes, do you mind going next first, please?
Sure. I was trying to think of the one major thing that I think is to be teachable on all levels. I have mentors that never knew they were my mentors. Those that I observed from afar, those that I watch on YouTube, those that I follow on Instagram, but I'm very selective on my followship. Everybody doesn't get my follow. And you have to be very selective as to who you allow to follow. So that would be one thing, is to make sure that you're teachable. Yes, I absolutely want you guys to knock the door down. I want you to kick it down, but understand sometimes all you got to do is turn the knob. You don't necessarily have to kick it down, and you might do more damage where it's like my kids. I'm like, dude, you couldn't, all you had to do was take the little twisty tie off. You didn't even have to rip open the bread. All you had to do was remove the twisty tie. So understand, be teachable. Always have somebody that's going to check you. I think Dr. G said, always have somebody that's going to check you. Who's that person? Who's that friend that's going to be like, now, that don't look right. Now, girl, you wrong. Run that by that trusted person and understand that person is coming from a place of love and that they want you to win. Always surround yourself with people that want you to win, but have that one person that checks you. Like, that's not it. So I'm excited about what your generation is going to do. And I'm excited to be able to learn from you. I am most certainly always excited to sit with young people to learn. I'm 44 and there's still so much that I am being taught by my teenagers. Yes, girl, come on. Yes, 44, come through. Yes, but just remain teachable.
Thank you so much, everyone. Unfortunately, that was our last question and we are out of time, but thank you so much to everyone who came out this evening. It was nice hearing from every single one of you. It was nice being able to share this opportunity with all of you. Me personally, just my quick little advice for girls that are younger than me, just to be themselves, honestly, because for the longest time, I struggled with being myself and being able to kind of just present myself in certain ways. I was very shy, but I was also very outgoing at the same time. So, I was kind of in between, but, this was great. I really enjoyed the conversation. You guys are lovely. You guys did an amazing job. So yeah, I just, that's basically it. Happy Mother's Day.